Hey everyone, welcome back. This is Left Jab and I am continuing my series on the secrets in the One Piece world. The first video of this series that I did was all the mysteries that were surrounding Wano, and then the part 2 of that was all the mysteries at the Reverie. Now that we got through both of those, this video is on all the rest of the mysteries that are around the whole world of One Piece and having to do with everything just around the world and things that we've seen and we just don't know what they are. So as always, before we start this video, please subscribe and like the video real quick. Everything helps. The like helps, the subscribe helps. So please subscribe to this channel. Alright, now let's get into it. So in the very beginning of the story, we all know that this is what the basis of the story is about. The One Piece. Luffy and many other pirates are out searching for this treasure that will not only gain them access to being the king of the pirates, but it also gains them access to all the secrets and mysteries of the world. So along with finding the One Piece, I also put down a couple other things that we will probably figure out along with finding the One Piece, which is what happened during the Void Century, what is going on with the Will of D, and what is the voice of all things, and how does that work. I think all those are connected, obviously. I think everyone does. So once we find out what the One Piece is, we will probably find out all that other information as well. But there is a little chance that the Void Century, Will of D, and voice of all things, we will find out before we figure out what the One Piece is, because maybe those are pieces we have to put together in order to find the One Piece, but we have no idea if that is correct yet, so I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Now, as I was going through each arc and figuring out what mysteries there were, there is one that it's not very important, and I doubt we will figure this one out, but I thought it would be interesting to mention, how did Shanks get the Gum Gum fruit, and does that have any significance or importance? Obviously, that is not something that is huge to the story, and it may not even matter, but it's still an interesting little detail. Next, I was thinking about what was going on in that first arc, and I thought of Makino. And when I thought of Makino, I thought of the cover stories, which shows her with a baby. So, at some point, I think we do need to figure out who the father of that baby is. A lot of people are guessing that it's Shanks. I think when it's colored, the baby has dark hair, so you can't really speculate if it's Shanks' baby or not because of the dark hair, but obviously it is hers because she has dark hair as well, so that makes sense that the baby has dark hair, but it still can be Shanks. We just are not sure about that. Now the next one, I am going to just break it up into different groups, but it's about the Straw Hats and all their families and what we still need to learn about them. We don't necessarily have to learn about all of them, but I think there's some that they might still be a relevant storyline. So for instance, Luffy's one of them. We have no idea who his mom is or what she is. Maybe that will go along with Dragon and his history, which I'll get into later, but we still need to learn Luffy's mom. And then I also put down Zoro. And the whole thing about Zoro is I kind of have an idea that he might have a weird ancient race to him. I have this little theory idea that he might be a part of like a devil race or something like that. Like he has the blood of a devil or something, just because it doesn't explain Ashura and then his nature to control Kotetsu and how he can sense the devilish nature in it and all of that stuff. There's just so much weird stuff behind Zoro, so maybe we will later on figure out if Zoro's lineage has something to do with the devil race or something like that. Next we have Nami. We don't know much about her parents. We know she was raised by Bellemere. But we don't know much about her parents, and that might be significant in the end. We just don't know. Also, we have Robin. We don't know a lot about Robin and her father. Her father could be a prominent figure that maybe we all know. A lot of people assume that it might be Dragon, but that's just a theory, obviously, and so maybe we can figure out at some point who Robin's father is. I think that would be really cool to figure out, but again, not necessary. Now this next one is probably the one I want to know the most, just because it was mentioned, and the way it was mentioned was kind of weird, but Frankie's parents were both pirates, and they left him to be an orphan on Water 7, and so I really think that his parents are going to come into play at some point, as we might figure out who those pirates are that left him. The next is Brook, and this one has little to do with his parents. I don't think we will ever learn about Brook's parents, but it was mentioned that he was the captain of the guard of his kingdom or something like that. And so it would be cool to go back and look at Brook's past and see what happened in his kingdom and what caused him to leave his kingdom to become a pirate. I think that would be a cool backstory that we could learn. The next mystery, and this is probably the most obvious because it's all what the story is about, but it's the crew's dreams being fulfilled. So we can just go through them all. Luffy wants to be Pirate King, Zoro wants to be the greatest swordsman, Usopp wants to be a brave warrior of the sea, Nami wants to navigate through the world and create a map of the whole world, Sanji wants to see the All Blue, Chopper wants to learn to cure every illness, which I think he will find out eventually due to the cherry blossoms, Robin wants to discover the ancient history, Frankie wants his boat, his ship, the Thousand Sunny, to travel across the whole ocean, and Brook wants to meet Laboon again. Also, there is Jinbei, and I'm not entirely sure what his dream is, but I think it has something to do with Fishman Island, and I think by the end of the story, Fishman Island will become what Jinbei wants it to be. Now, as we move along through the other arcs, I think about Dragon and everything about him and surrounding him. We learned of Dragon at chapter 100, I believe, and we still don't even know his devil fruit. All we know is he's a revolutionary and that he purposefully opposes the world government and fights against them for everyone to have freedom. So the things I would like to know about Dragon, obviously his devil fruit, but then also his history. What caused him to rebel? What incident happened? A lot of people think that maybe his wife, Luffy's mother, was a celestial dragon, but was killed because she didn't want to be a celestial dragon anymore, or something like that, where she was possibly killed by the celestial dragons, so he has a huge vendetta against them. Or maybe she was imprisoned and captured and made into a slave by them, or something. But we have so much we need to figure out about Dragon and his history and why he does the things that he does. And I think we will find that after Luffy finds the One Piece. Because if you remember, Oda said that Luffy still has to find the One Piece, and then there's still more story after that. So we will probably find out all about Dragon at that point. When I was going through the different arcs, I was thinking about Dragon at Logtown, but then I also thought of Tashigi and how that's where Zoro met her, and there was a resemblance between her and Kuina. So I don't know if that's going to be a mystery or something that's going to come into play, but there might still have to be something that's revealed about Tashigi possibly being related to Kuina or not. I'm not sure yet. The next mystery we have to be revealed, or just event that has to happen, is Usopp going to Elbaf, or at least saving Elbaf in some reason or some fashion, or something having to do with Usopp and Elbaf. Also, along that line, there's that theory where all the lies that Usopp tells are going to come true eventually. So Usopp has to go to Elbaf, I think, to become a brave warrior of the sea like he wants to, and I also believe that maybe his lies will come to fruition. That's not really a secret, that's more of a theory. Now the next thing we need to learn about is the ancient weapons. We need to figure out about Pluton and Uranus. We don't know about those ones. We know about Poseidon. We know about that, and we know that that is Shirahoshi. But we need to still figure out what Pluton is, what Uranus is, or even who. The next one that I put down, and this might never be revealed, but I thought it was really interesting, but at the Florian Triangle, when they were leaving Thriller Bark, there was those huge looming figures over them. So I really wonder if those figures are going to be revealed of who they are and what kind of creatures they could possibly be. Now this one is something that I want to know so bad. I think it will have a huge impact on the story, and I think it is very important. But in the cover story, we saw Crocus sitting and drinking sake with someone with his back turned. Now, this person had long hair, he had a cloak on, it kind of looked like a robe or something from the Wano country, and a big hat that looks like it was weaved and made in Wano, just like Ace made. So I really think that this person is going to be important. A lot of people said, oh, maybe it's Kawamatsu because he has the hat, he has the long hair, but I don't know if it's Kawamatsu. I don't think so, just because he was in prison for so long, and he was in Wano country this whole time. We already know that. The last 20 years, we know he was in Wano country. So I really want to figure out who this figure was, and maybe he'll even pop up sometime in Wano. A lot of people really think that this one will not be revealed, but I think Oda has put in prominent characters throughout the series that, yes, they've already come back at some point, but I think they will come back again. I'm talking about two different characters, but this first particular one that I'm talking about is Crocodile. I think we need to figure out his purpose and what he's going to do in the story. He's probably going to be involved in the huge war. And then we also need to know about his past and the secret that Eva has about him. So along with Crocodile, I think Inuru, or Enel, however you want to pronounce it, I think he will be coming back. There's no reason that Oda showed him going to the moon and meeting those aliens or whatever, I forget what they're called, but meeting them and not have a purpose. I think he will come back and he will be a huge part of the story. Plus, the moon has something big to do with, I think, the Void Century. I think all of that is connected. Plus, we saw that Toki was from the Void Century, and on her kimono, when she came into the future, she had moons along the base of her kimono. So I really think the moon has a way bigger purpose than a lot of us even know. I know a lot of people are speculating that the moon has a purpose, and we all kind of think and know that, but I think it actually is going to be something big. The next is we need to figure out what the purpose of the Noah and the Sea Kings are. The Sea Kings are very knowledgeable. I think obviously at one point Shirahoshi is going to control them and they're going to take part in a huge battle, maybe do something really big. But the Noah was destroyed and they have to rebuild it, which is what they're going to do. But I really think what is going to happen is maybe not only Mid Island gets destroyed, but maybe a lot of other places are going to get destroyed, and the Noah has to be able to hold all these people who don't have a home, and they'll all be on this giant ship. This one is super anticipated, and I really can't wait to figure this out. Maybe in Wano Country we'll figure it out, maybe after, but Vegapunk. We know nothing about Vegapunk. We don't know what he looks like. We don't know anything about him besides that he's from Baltigo. Frankie spent time on his island, and he's just a genius, and he has all this technology. He just knows science more than anyone. So I really can't wait to finally meet Vegapunk and figure out a ton of different mysteries that I'm going to list below. One of them has to do with Devil Fruit and their creation. And also we need to figure out the awakening with the Devil Fruit. I think Vegapunk obviously cracked the code because he was able to figure out smiles and all that stuff, and that's how Caesar was able to create the smiles, and it's all connected because of Vegapunk, and he cracked the code on the Devil Fruit. So I think he knows where they're from, he knows the origin, he knows how they work, and he knows how to produce possibly new ones. So we're going to find out a lot more about Devil Fruit and their creation and all that, I think, eventually. And then also I think we're going to learn more about the awakening of a Devil Fruit and how that actually works, why it works, and what the purpose and history behind that is. This next character we need to find a lot more about is none other than Blackbeard. He's able to have 2 Devil Fruits, and we learned that when he was younger, Shanks and Buggy were talking about how he can't sleep at night. And there's a huge theory because of his Jolly Roger that he might be able to have 3 Devil Fruit. We might see it coming up pretty soon. But how is he able to have 2 Devil Fruit? We were always told that if you eat 2 Devil Fruit, then you will die. And so he was able to consume 2 and use both powers. We need to figure out how and why he's able to do that. Also, his ship is called the saber of Zebek, so we need to figure out what the connection between him and rocks is. So the other one I already mentioned in my other video, it was the Reverie one, so if you haven't watched that, I'll put a link above, you go and check that out. But it's Kuma and Bonnie and what the relationship is, what the history between them is, and a lot having to do with Kuma and his history with revolutionaries, if he's an informant for them while working for the world government, or all these different mysteries surrounding Kuma, and then obviously Bonnie's connected to that. As we move on, we also need to learn about the 5 Elder Stars and the secrets behind them. We don't know how long they've been in power. We don't know anything about them. We don't know their strength. We know nothing. But one thing that a lot of people have recognized is that one of the old men has a sword and it looks like a Katetsu blade. So it might be the very first Katetsu. That would be very cool to figure that one out. And maybe we get some backstory lore on the Katetsu blades. But along with talking about swords and the Katetsus and stuff, that is something I really cannot wait to find out, is what swords Zoro is going to end up at the end of the series with. Because he's been through a lot of swords. There's been a ton of swords coming in and out of his hands. And I think we need to figure out what the endgame swords are going to be for him. This next character is a fan favorite. I love him. He's one of my favorite characters. But it's Shanks. We need to figure out his powers and abilities. We need to know if he has like some advanced form of Conqueror's Hockey or something like that. And then we also need to figure out stuff about his crew. If some of his crew members have devil fruits, what their bounties are. And we found out that a lot of them have big prominent bounties. We need to figure out all this different stuff about Shanks. He's just shrouded in mystery. We don't know what his purpose is. We don't know what he's doing. I think maybe Roger told him something, that he has to help usher in the new generation and he has to be there to protect the new generation. So we'll see what Shanks is all about soon enough. I really hope so. Now, while we were in Wano country, this was revealed and it was a huge plot line. But it was that there's a secret faction of the Marines called Sword. They're an undercover agency, and we think that most of the members are in big prominent pirate crews. For instance, we found out that Drake is part of Kaido's crew, but he's secretly working for the Marines as a secret agent. He was talking to Kobe. Obviously, Kobe's not under a pirate crew, but he's still part of Sword, which I think is awesome. And we can kind of speculate who else is. We also saw that Oda drew a Kainu with his shirt off, and he has a sword tattoo. So maybe he's connected to Sword in some way, but also think of who else is a part of a Yonko crew that was part of the Marines. That would be Aokiji. So Kuzan might be part of Sword. That's what a lot of people are speculating. I really think that that's true. And we might figure out, in a lot of these other people's crews, that they are a part of Sword as well, that we didn't even know they were part of the Marines in the first place. The next person, honestly, I could care less about him and his history and what's up with him, but it's Weevil, and we need to figure out stuff about him and his mom. We need to figure out if his mom was possibly on rocks, if it actually is Whitebeard's son, if Weevil is the son, or if she's just lying. And something that's a little bit more interesting, I can't wait till he actually comes into the story, because either he is going to come after Luffy or Whitebeard's sons or something like that, and there will be a cool clash, and it will just be a fun, epic fight between him and Whitebeard's crew. So I think that will be fun to actually watch and see, rather than hearing that he hunted them down. Now, speaking of rocks, we need to figure out everything about rocks in general. So hopefully coming up after chapter 1000, we already hit 1000. So maybe we will start getting flashbacks of rocks and everything about rocks, the mystery shrouded in the rocks pirates, and what their crew was about, what Rocks D. Zebek was about, how he was trying to obtain his goal of world domination. All of that, we need to figure out all those mysteries with the rocks pirates. We also need to figure out about Moria and what happened to him and his devil fruit. Did Moria get killed by Blackbeard? Or did Blackbeard just leave him alive so he can do his bidding for him? And did they team up? Because we know Moria probably wants to get revenge on Kaido because Kaido killed his whole crew. But there could be two different ideas to that. Either Moria and Blackbeard teamed up together, which I'm kind of thinking is unlikely because I feel like Blackbeard wouldn't want to team up with someone like that, but I'm sure he'll let anyone into his crew because he let Kuzan, so he might let him into his crew. But what if Blackbeard killed him, took his fruit, gave it to another member of his crew, and then they resurrected Moria so that eventually maybe they go to Wano. Moria goes to Wano as a zombie to fight Kaido, and Moria is used by his old devil fruit, which I think would be kind of funny because he's been creating all these zombies, and if he turns into one of his own zombies because he got killed and his devil fruit got taken away, that would be insane. Now, I already kind of mentioned this guy in my other video with the Reverie and all that stuff happening, but Mihawk. We need to figure out more about Mihawk, and we need to see, is he possibly going to join Shanks? That's a huge theory out there. That might be overkill, though, for Shanks' crew. And then what will Ben Beckman do? Because then you kind of see that Mihawk and Shanks might be equal. And then there's Ben Beckman. But I think that it would be crazy if Mihawk joined the crew. But we need to see what Mihawk's plan and goal will now be. That he's not just simply a warlord going around fighting people just for the fun of it. He has to have some type of goal and some type of ambition to go and do something or complete something. I don't know. I think he's going to have some type of motivation in the coming story. Now, this one we found out in Wano, and I didn't mention it in Wano because it pertains to the greater world, and I think we're not even going to find this out until after Wano. But we need to figure out what happened when Kid met Shanks and when they faced off, because his arm got taken off. I personally don't even think Shanks is the one who took his arm off. I think that maybe he was talking crap to Shanks, and then one of Shanks' crew went and cut his arm off. Alright, now the second to last one is Zoe, and what is going to happen with that giant elephant, Zunisha. Is Zunisha going to come? And I kind of already have a theory about this, and I put a video out there, so I'll link that above. But is Zoe and Zunisha, is that going to come to Wano and lay to rest there? Or what is going to happen with that elephant? Also, we need to know the mink's role in ushering in the dawn. Now, we don't know a lot about that. We just heard that the minks have a role in ushering in the dawn. So we need to figure out what exactly that means and what role that they are going to play in that. And with the very last one that I can think of, and you know I probably missed a bunch, so if I have, please comment below what mysteries I've missed. But this one is Joy Boy's return. We've heard it many times before. Yes, we heard it in Wano, but I wanted to save it for the bigger video with all the mysteries of the world because I think it has something to pertain to most of the world rather than just Wano. It might happen in Wano, but Joy Boy is going to return apparently, and we need to figure out what that means, when he's going to return, and we need to see how that is going to play out and what is going to happen with that. So if you made it to the end of the video, thank you so much. I don't know why you're not subscribed if you're not already, so please subscribe. Please like the video. I need those likes. And as always, be kind to others. See ya.